Singer-songwriter Carole King makes up in glamour what Cranston lacks.
You must be,
I feel the earth move under my feet. I feel the sky tumbling down.
In Denver last night, Carole King put soul into the Heart campaign and raised some money with a benefit concert.
I know a lot of people say, well, what does my vote matter? I just have a small voice. Nobody wants to hear me. One small voice added to one small voice added to one small voice makes a big voice, the voice of the people. So make a difference. Use your voice.
Right on, sister. Legendary singer-songwriter Carole King has never shied away from politics, even going on the road to campaign for Democratic presidential candidate Gary Hart back in 1984. Well, this week, Taylor Swift made the earth move from under her feet when she endorsed Vice President Harris for president. The self-proclaimed childless cat lady's post led to nearly 406,000 people going to vote.gov for more information on voting. Here to discuss, a woman who would know a thing or two about celebrity endorsements, singer, songwriter, author, environmentalist, and OG cat lady herself, the one and only Carole King. I'm so happy to see you tonight, Carole. Before Taylor Swift made this endorsement announcement, you were actually involved in Swifties for Kamala, a fundraiser earlier this summer. What kind of impact do you think Taylor's endorsement is going to have on this race?
Well, it's phenomenal. She alerted people, and she wrote a beautiful piece in doing it. She said, okay, this is how I feel. I did my research. Now you go do yours and vote. That was her basic message. And of course, she has so many fans. Her platform is huge. So a lot of people are responding to that.
But it's tough to do it. I want to share a clip of Taylor Swift from 2018 telling her management team, her parents, why it was important to her to get involved in Tennessee's Senate race. Watch this.
Taylor Swift comes out against Trump.
I don't care if they write that. I'm sad that I didn't 2 years ago, but I can't change that. I'm saying right now that this is something that I know is right, and you guys, I need to be on the right side of history, and if he doesn't win, then at least I tried.
She went on to endorse Biden in 2020. Carole, you have been doing this for decades. How hard is it for musicians and other celebrities to get involved in politics? It angers people.
Well, I don't see that I can't speak for other musicians, but for me, and obviously for Taylor, it's not a question of hard or easy. It's a question of important.
It was funny. This week, Donald Trump said this is going to be a bad business decision for Taylor Swift. She's going to lose a lot of support. You think that could be the case?
Yeah, one of many things he said that isn't true.
Now, you live in a red state, and you've been involved in politics for a long time. What do you believe is the best way to engage people? Why have you been doing it for so long?
Well, first of all, I used to live in a redder town. I don't anymore, but I used to live in a redder town, and people voted Republican and they knew I voted Democrat. But we interacted. So like if I was broke down on the side of the road with my car, they would stop. They didn't ask me how I voted. And I, in turn, when somebody got burned out of their home, I sang on a flatbed trailer, to help people raise money, to help raise money to put him back in his, in another place. So that's what neighbors do. And we need to think more of ourselves as neighbors. And even if we disagree, we don't have to do it disagreeably. And I was really heartened the other night when Kamala actually said that. We are neighbors and friends. That's the place where we need to live. And it's so frustrating that Donald Trump is getting so many people who feel aggrieved. Why can't we just get along?
It doesn't sound like you're talking about taking anyone down. You're talking about bringing people together. Why is it this term, you decided to get involved in this campaign? Because this is an angry time, and there's a lot of people that are just so negative. You could say, listen, I live a beautiful life and in a beautiful state. I don't want to get involved, but you're not.
I have to be involved. Everybody who cares about this election and is coming from a place of love, and I guess the people who are coming from a place of anger as well, but everybody should be involved and do it in a way that you're not being aggrieved and making up stories that, you know, dominate a whole news cycle about something, you know, ridiculous and untrue. But as neighbors, this is what I tell people and what I told people on the Swifties call. I've been a volunteer. I've gone to doors, and not alone, obviously, with a staffer. And I've knocked, and I've gotten somebody, the door opens and it looks like, you know, a guy who might be a Republican. You can't tell anything by looks, but, you know, I just made that, okay, maybe.
Whoa.
And
Carol,
I just
have to
introduced
interrupt. Whoa. What happens when Carol King comes knocking on someone's door and they open the door? I mean, what do they say when they see you?
Well, some people recognize me. This particular guy I'm thinking of didn't. And I said, I'm here to, you know, I didn't have somebody directing me what to say, but it was a good approach. I said, I'm here to find, I'm working for it was John Kerry's campaign at the time. And I said, I'm working for the Kerry campaign and I'm here to find out what's important to you. And then I listened. And he was a Republican. And he was talking about what he needed. And after he was finished, I said, and I described this on the Swifties call as a bridge question. You're building a bridge, forgetting that Bridges, Taylor, that's song Bridges. But anyway, this is a bridge question. What do you think you could agree with John Kerry about? Substitute Kamala. And then listen. The key is listening. And at the end of, you know, him speaking, I thanked him and I said, I really appreciate that you gave me your time. And he said, you know what? I'm going to vote for your man.
Damn. Listen and
love. It doesn't always work that way.